Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Since I cannot hear you, so please feel free to write something in your language in the chat. You can see the chat in the right part of the screen. So I see we have quite many attendees from different countries of the world. So please write in your language. It would be really nice to hear how it sounds in your language. Please write hello. And I want to mention that all session you can write and ask questions in this chat, and we will cover these questions at the end of the session. But feel free, be active, communicate in this chat with us. So hello once again. My name is Ingrida. I'm a product manager from Ruptella, and let's start this webinar. So today, together with me, we have David Smutskus. He is a product manager in Ruptella as well. And also we have our valuable partner, Evelyn Tour, from the company named Kyburz. Thank you, Evelyn, for joining us for this webinar. So I will start from a short introduction about Ruptella. I hope you're all familiar with our company, but just I want to mention some facts. So we are more than 15 years in the telematic industry. We were always focusing on premium quality devices, and we are using premium quality parts for our components for our devices. We are also focusing on close partnership. We are ready to bring you a global experience to your country. We are having our R&D in-house, and we have this know-how what challenges you are facing every day, because in local markets we are working with end users, so we know what challenge you are facing, and our goal is to make the devices to solve these challenges. As I mentioned, we are a global country. We are working in a company. We are working in more than 120 countries. We have more than 270 employees. We have 5 branches. Our headquarters is in Vilnius. And this year, in the beginning of this year, we celebrated quite a huge milestone. We have developed 2 million devices. So that's a little bit about Ruptella. And now I will ask Evelyn to tell us a little bit about Kyburz. Evelyn?
Hello, everyone. Kyburz is a Swiss company. We are developing electric light vehicles. Some of you have maybe seen them. It's mainly for post delivery. The post guys are delivering the mail and the parcels with this yellow vehicle below the red button. And when we started, it was the electric vehicle production was quite new, and we didn't know how this is going to work and if the battery is going to last. So we needed a fleet management system for ourselves to cover what's going on with the vehicles. And then we looked for a partner who could help us with that, and we found it in Ruptella. And then as a first, we used it for our own, and then we started to sell it also to other companies. Now our main customers are, of course, parcel delivery or post delivery, transport and logistics, and construction. So until now we have produced 25,000 vehicles, and 4,000 vehicles are equipped with GPS trackers. Yeah, I guess that's about it.
Thank you, Evelyn. We are really glad to work with you and to know better your company and what challenges you are facing every day. So let's move to our webinar main topic. So today we're going to introduce you to Trace5 family devices. We have quite different editions of these devices, so how to choose the right edition. And now my colleague David will share his experience and share his expertise about this family of devices. So David, the stage is yours.
Hello, everyone. Once again, I see a lot of people from different countries all over the world. So I'm glad to be here and to present some more information, some more touches about our devices here. So yeah, today we're going to speak about Trace5 devices. We have actually 3 main editions of the device: the standard one, trailer tracker, and the battery-mounted version. So I'm just going to briefly cover all 3 of them and just let you know what are the main differences between them and so on. So to start, let's start from our Trace5 standard device. This device goes as standard device because later this device was modified, as you'll see. So yeah, this device is from our eco or basic segment. So it means it's not like ultra low cost device or so. It means usually our clients who are using this device are the ones who need basic features, basic tracking, and some basic features, but not only tracking. So like maybe driver registration, driver behavior monitoring, and so on. Maybe temperature monitoring. So some features, some basic ones, but not the most advanced ones. So they usually choose this device. Why they choose Trace5? Because firstly, all the Trace5 devices are 4G devices. So they're future-proof devices, as you know, in a lot of countries, especially in Europe, it's already started to go fast, the 2G sunset. So all the operators are starting to shut down 2G network. It's because they also released now 5G, a lot of operators switching to 5G. That's why they need to free up some bandwidth and shut down the 2G. So yeah, this device is 4G together with 2G fallback. What it means, it works on 4G network as well as on 2G network. So universal future-proof device. From 4G, we have actually two versions. One is standard LTE or Cat1 device, and the other is Cat-M1. So LPVA Cat-M1 network. Both of them are with 2G fallbacks. All the devices as standard going with two digital outputs, 4 digital inputs, 2 analog inputs, and 1 wire interface. So just to be more clear, maybe I'll mention like the main solutions and applications what are used on those interfaces. So if we go just step by step, so digital outputs, those are usually used to control something. Our device controls something, some additional accessories. So the frequently used ones are, let's say, ignition blocking relay. So if you want your driver not to start the vehicle until he registers, or only your driver could start the vehicle, so you just connect ignition blocking relay and our device is blocking and unblocking ignition as configured. Just an example, you can connect like buzzer, LED lights, even lock-on-lock vehicles via digital outputs and other features. For digital inputs, those are usually used, of course, for ignition detection of the vehicle, to see when ignition is on, when basically engine is on, and so on. Also, some basic features like panic button. So just clicking the button, device will send you SMS notifications, notifications to the server that something maybe is bad for the driver. So yeah, panic button and some other accessories for security, like door sensors and so on. Analog inputs with Trace5, usually those are used for fuel monitoring, as it is possible to connect our fuel level sensor and use it via analog input. So if you want to see quite detailed how much fuel is in the tank and to see are there any thefts of the fuel or other potential harms, so you can use this fuel solution via analog input. And of course, one wire interface, it's used also for driver registration, as I mentioned. So if you want to monitor who exactly is driving the vehicle, so you can use it via iButton or RFID cards with one wire interface. Also, very popular solution is temperature monitoring, wired temperature monitoring. So it's usually if you're transporting some important goods like food, maybe medicine or so, you want to monitor the temperature of the cargo, you can do it with Trace. You can connect up to 4 temperature sensors to this device. One more thing worth to mention is Bluetooth. LTE versions of the device, they're having Bluetooth. So with Bluetooth, you are opening all the wireless accessories. So you can have wireless driver registration instead of wired one. So instead of you need to install the iButton readers or RFID card readers and use the physical card. Basically, with Bluetooth, you can just have a Bluetooth beacon, a small button that you just entering the car. Let's say ignition is blocked. You're just clicking the button, and there you go. Ignition is unblocking. Our device is unblocking ignition, and you can drive away. And of course, this way, driver registers, and the fleet manager already can see who is driving the vehicle. Also with Bluetooth, what you can do, you can monitor the fuel level even more accurately by using Bluetooth fuel level sensor. So yes, we are supporting Bluetooth fuel level sensors. Also, you're installing it into the fuel tank and you can monitor the fuel level very accurately as well. Also, some other accessories like temperature, humidity monitoring, everything is wireless, and it's possible with this Trace5 device Bluetooth features. So just the main applications for this device is track and trace, or of course basic tracking, safety and security of both driver and cargo, because for driver also we have this Green Fleet or EcoDrive solution. So we have driver behavior monitoring, so it means the device monitors how driver is behaving, how he drives, are there any harsh events, like maybe he's braking very fast or accelerating fast or overspeeding. So device registers all those events and sends to the dispatcher, and dispatcher can see. And even at the end of the month on fleet management systems, he can, maybe see some reports and see who is the best driver of the month, who is the worst driver of the month, how much fuel was wasted, and so on. Other just basic applications like delivery, service fleets, vehicle leasing and financing, car rental. Also, they're using this product just for safety, security, tracking, crash detection, and some other features. As I already mentioned, that this device is compatible with wireless Bluetooth accessories, LTE version, one wire D-out and D-in accessories. So those are all available. Also, one thing that I think I didn't mention was that we have actually two versions of housing of Trace5. So this, as you can see in the picture, the smaller one, Trace5, is just our standard IP30, standard plastic housing. And in case you want to install the device somewhere in more harsh environments, maybe under the hood, sometimes outside of the truck maybe. So we have the IP67 version available, which is waterproof, dustproof, and just meant for harsh conditions. Moving further, just a few straight key benefits for Trace5. So of course, as all actually Ruptella devices, we are focusing on the quality, and we have excellent performance with tracking. So GNSS tracking. We're using Swiss-made U-Blocks modules in all our devices, which ensures very accurate position monitoring. It ensures fast GNSS signal catch-up. So let's say your vehicle is driving, maybe entering some tunnel in the hills or so. So this Swiss-made U-Blocks GNSS module, it has also assisted GNSS feature. So it just helps out you to get the GNSS signal back faster and much more accurate. So you can see the coordinates really accurately with U-Blocks. Waterproof housing. So as I mentioned, we have two versions, and this IP67 certified, ensuring your reliable operations even in the harshest conditions. And versatile or universal solutions with such a small basic device, but still universal, with those 4 digital inputs, 2 digital outputs, 2 analog inputs, 1 wire and Bluetooth. So it opens quite wide range of possibilities. Further on, of course, security. So using Trace5, you can save and make sure that both your cargo and your driver is secure. What worth to mention, Trace5 has jamming detection, GNSS jamming detection feature. So you can detect when someone is trying to jam the device. It has internal backup battery in case someone is cutting the power off. Device will still generate records and send you to the server for some time. And of course, driver identification, just for you to know who is the driver. Low power consumption, yes, the lowest one actually in our Cat M1 version, as you'll see later. So it goes up to 3.5 milliamps in sleep mode, so very low power consumption, what is actually required for such basic devices. And worldwide 2G and 4G coverage. So as I mentioned, worldwide coverage, both 4G and 2G, so basically anywhere in the world, Trace5 works without any problems. Okay, let's move further now to the first modification of our Trace5. So this is Trace5 trailer tracker. More or less, it has the similar features, similar feature set, inputs, outputs, everything is the same. What I want to mention as differences. So firstly, it's of course the internal battery. The standard internal battery is only 190 milliamps. So depending on your configuration, your device can last maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, depending on configuration, on autonomous. With this high capacity 3100 milliamps battery, device can last for months and more. So you'll see later we have more detailed tab for this. Also, worth to mention is that this device, the trailer tracker, is Cat M1 version, so not standard LTE. It's Cat M1 LTM version. Why we went with this version? Because this version, as I mentioned, has the lowest power consumption, and we wanted to have as long as possible battery life for the device, because basically this device meant for trailer tracking. Why for trailer tracking, and how clients are using this device? So trailers, usually some companies, they're, for example, renting trailers, they're sharing trailers with other companies, and sometimes the trailers, they're just left unattended for weeks, sometimes months, and still clients, fleet managers, they want to see where the trailers are, make sure that no one steals them, and so on. So this is meant for autonomous tracking and for months and more. This is where are the main applications of this device. All the other things the same as for Trace5, as I mentioned. For G+2G, also all the same inputs and outputs, all the features like temperature monitoring, driver behavior monitoring, driver registration, all those are available. Also, all our Trace5 devices are available on our DMP, device management platform. So it's also a very good tool, and you can really fast make some quick updates for the device, request configurations, and so on. Yeah, so key benefits of this version of trailer tracker version of Trace5. So yeah, a long-lasting battery, so it can last up to 36, 38 days from battery if it reports every 5 hours. If you set the report period to report, let's say, every 12 or every 24 hours, it can last even more. IP67 waterproof housing, so this modification available only in IP67 housing. Why? Because usually when in trailers, clients are installing them outside of the trailers. That's why. Designed for harsh environments and outdoor use. So again, high quality components. Actually, in all Trace models, we're using every component that we are using is industrial grade. What it means that we are not buying the cheapest ones just to make the device as cheap as possible. We're focusing on still industrial grade components. I guess you well know the Ruptella for its quality, because we have actually 99.9% quality. It means that only less than 0.1% of devices that we are selling are having some issues and coming back for fixing for RMA process. So very, very high quality devices, but maybe not the cheapest one, because we're using these high quality components. And as I mentioned, this specific version is made for trailer tracking. This is the table for you to see some power consumption measurements. So for example, if device reports every 14 minutes, you have about 1 week of lifetime. If it reports every 30 minutes, about half a month. And if it reports, let's say, every 24 or 12 hours, you have more than a month. So it's very good results. Device just works autonomously, and usually it's installed on trailers in such a way that as soon as truck is connecting the trailer back, the device is charging the battery. So it charges the battery up, and again, you can leave it for a month or more. Okay, moving further, one more addition that we recently released is the battery-mounted edition of the device. Already this device is available in both Cat M1 and standard LTE, standard Cat 1 with Bluetooth. So two versions available. As well, IP67 housing only. And what this device is meant for, it meant for more for basic tracking, I would say, and more for very fast and easy installations. So it has a double-sided like sticky pad on the bottom of it. So you're just opening basically the hood of the vehicle, sticking device on the vehicle battery, and just connecting those two crocodile clips to the vehicle battery. So to mount the device, it takes like 3 minutes or so. You're just mounting it, and that's it. You're just connecting to the vehicle battery, and you're good to go. So the main edge and advantage of this device is, of course, this fast installation. But also, in case in the future you want to use the device for something else, like the standard features, you can just buy additional harness from us. Well, the standard harness that has 12 wires in it, and you can use all the features as in standard Trace5 device. So all the digital inputs, digital outputs, analog inputs, Bluetooth, all the features are there inside. So just in case you want to use in the future as a standard device, you can switch it and use it as a standard device. Some key benefits of this version. So of course, the main edge is easy and fast installation. As I mentioned, just stick it on the battery, connect it to the vehicle battery, the crocodile clips, that's it. Possibility to switch between battery mounted edition and standard Trace5, as I mentioned. If you need any standard features, they are there. And again, excellent performance of tracking, because device, when it's under the hood, you need a very good GNSS module to track it correctly and not to have any GPS jumps and so on. So again, we're using Swiss-made high quality GNSS module. Additionally, waterproof housing, so IP version only, worldwide 2G plus 4G coverage, LTM plus LTE with Bluetooth. So Bluetooth also available. You can install it on the battery and use the wireless features. You can use wireless driver registration, temperature monitoring, fuel monitoring, you name it. All those wireless features, you can use it while just very fast and simple installation on the vehicle battery. And safety and security. So yeah, some different specific cases, different accessories, as I mentioned, wireless accessories, safety and security, so jamming detection, driver behavior monitoring, all those are also available in this fast installation version of the device. Okay, Ingrid, a word to you.
So thank you, David, for sharing such good knowledge about the devices. I hope you now have clear information, what are the features of the devices and for what we can use it. We now will cover it. So we just selected some industries and we want to talk about challenges of these industries where we can use Trace5 devices. So let's start from the logistics industry, since this is I think, the biggest industry where GPS trackers is used. So David, can you cover these main challenges that the logistic industry is facing nowadays?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Ingrid. So yeah, the main things, logistics is, I guess, the widest, the biggest industry that all the fleet management companies are working on. And the main industry challenges that we can see is fuel theft prevention, cargo and driver safety and security, and on-time and cost-effective cargo delivery. How we can use the Trace5 here? So fuel theft prevention, as I mentioned, you can use wired fuel level sensor via analog input, or you can use a wireless one with Bluetooth, just installing the fuel level sensor, and you can monitor the fuel, see all the fuel drains, and just prevent the theft like that. Additionally, using digital inputs, we have a special accessory. We're selling it, the security of the fuel tank. So it's for heavy commercial vehicles, for trucks. So you're installing additional cap on top of the fuel cap of physical fuel cap of the truck, and it still lets you put the fuel inside, but it detects as soon as someone tries to open it. So if someone tries to open the tank like not in time, and you see maybe that it's not in the gas station, you can already see that someone is trying to maybe steal some fuel from you. Cargo and driver safety and security. So those are for cargo safety, you can install some door sensors for the trailers, monitor the temperature, humidity of the cargo, just to make sure that it arrives fresh. It's some maybe food or medicine, and of course to be safe. If someone opens the door of the trailer, you can straight see it with accessories. And on time and cost efficient cargo delivery. So this is more of a just kind of a basic tracking. So all the time you can see where your device is. And actually most of the fleet management platforms, they are giving you some routing tasks modules, so you can plan your routes very, very nicely, and this device sends the data, you can plan everything and even send those routes to your driver. Yeah, so that's it.
Thank you, David. And now, since Evelyn is working with logistic companies, I would like for Evelyn to say a few words about this on-time and cost-effective cargo delivery or other challenges that logistic industry is facing at the moment. Evelyn, can you share with us?
Yeah, our customer needs the Trace5 delivery for their external drivers because they have a whole fleet, but only part of them are employees and the rest they have as a contract drivers. And with the contract drivers, they are not allowed to see all data for data private security, data protection. And therefore, they need a device which is kind of simpler. They still want to know where the driver is or need to know where the driver is for to have a good planning. And they also need the kilometers, so they see how long have they been driving, so they can optimize their fleet. When they see, for example, in one of their employees and one of the contract drivers, one is driving a long tour all the time and the other one is driving a short tour all the time, they can switch tours so they can optimize the use of the vehicles and therefore prolong the living cycle of the vehicle itself, for example. Yeah, and otherwise, that's what they need it for.
Okay, that's really good to hear. Thank you for sharing these use cases and challenges about logistic industry. And let's move to other industry, which is very similar to logistics, is the delivery industry. And actually me, as I like to buy online, I like to buy things online. And you know, it's really sad when the things come late or damaged. So David, can you share with me how end users and even end consumers like me can benefit from Trace5 family in this industry?
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, actually delivery is quite similar to logistics, but maybe more focused for the end user. So yeah, the main challenges that we can see is of course on time and secure delivery, cargo and driver safety and security, and driver identification. So for this on time and secure delivery, how we can use our device here. So of course, just monitor the overall delivery fleet that you have. So maybe managing some faster deliveries. Just if you see like maybe courier is arriving somewhere next by the warehouse or so, maybe he can stop by, take some more shipments and so on. Secure delivery, so you can install sensors, making sure they are secure. For some packings, even you can use Bluetooth beacons. You can actually physically install the beacon for your shipment, and you can monitor and see where it is. Is it in the warehouse? Is it in the already for delivery, and so on. Of course, this requires not one device, a few devices, and kind of a network of assets tracking and this beacon tracking. But yeah, it's possible. So you can use the Trace5 for this. Cargo and driver safety and security. So again, you can monitor the doors and so on. You can monitor the driver himself. You can make sure that, or the fleet manager can make sure that your shipment will be intact because the driver will drive safely by using our EcoDrive solution. The EcoDrive solution basically forces the driver to drive, without any harsh events and so on. So this makes sure that your shipments are not stacked behind and just, lurking around in the trunk. And driver identification also, it's identifies who is your courier, who is delivering the package for you or some other goods. And this is also kind of forces delivery companies to and couriers to be more precise, more accurate with the shipments, because if you do something with the shipment, fleet manager can see who did it, when did it, and why did it. So this is quite good things that you can use with Trace5.
Yeah, thank you, David. As I hope that the companies who are using GPS trackers will deliver my stuff that I'm ordering. So the next industry is construction. And I believe for this industry, IP67 housing is quite crucial. So David, please share what other challenges we can also mitigate with this device.
Yeah, so construction industry is quite for some time already, I think, with Trace5s, especially in some specific markets. Like Africa is very popular actually with this. So yeah, the main things is working time tracking, worker identification, and assets monitoring usually in those construction sites. As you, Ingrida, mentioned, IP67 housing is kind of a must, because when it's in construction sites, usually they're installed in some heavy equipment, some tractors, bulldozers, sometimes on the power generators and so on. So the housing should be IP67, to have very good quality of it. Working time tracking, so you can just count working times with our digital inputs. So as soon as you can use, for example, button, you can connect the button. As soon as driver enters his, let's say, excavator, for example, he can click the button and his working time starting to count. Later on fleet management platform, your manager can see all the time how many hours have you worked. Worker identification, so just works as a standard driver identification. So with iButton, RFID cards, or wireless ones, just with Bluetooth beacons, also possible. And assets monitoring, because usually in construction sites, they have a lot of valuable assets, tools, generators, some other valuable equipment, pallets, with maybe building materials and so on. You can just drop the Bluetooth beacons there, and using the Bluetooth, just install a few Trace5s in the area, in construction site area, and you can monitor and know as soon as some asset of yours is leaving the construction site. So this is very useful, and actually quite some of our clients are using this asset monitoring.
And another industry which we want to cover is utility industry, because we have quite many clients which are using these Trace5 devices in this industry. And now, please, David, share what exactly challenges we can solve with our devices for this industry.
Yeah, this industry, I would say, is quite simple, maybe, because usually it's requiring more or less the basic tracking of our devices with some basic features, maybe detecting when the doors are open, and so on. So main challenges that we can see is, of course, real-time tracking, driver behavior monitoring, and driver identification. So usually what clients are they're requiring to see real-time where their drivers are, how they're driving, so monitor their behavior, and who is driving. These are the main things, I guess, in utility industry, because usually they're just requiring some of those basic features that Trace have. Of course, it covers them, and quite a lot of clients actually using Trace5, usually with maybe not IP housing, with simple IP30, the smaller device, we can maybe install it a little bit simpler as it's smaller device. So usually those are used for utility industry.
Thank you, David. And the last one, but not the least one, is car leasing and renting industry. And we have quite big clients in this industry. And I know that safety and security is really important. But what else, David, can you share us?
Yeah, of course, for car leasing and renting, the owner of the vehicle, he wants to make sure that, when you're renting the vehicle, you will drive carefully with it, not make any crashes and so on. So, of course, fleet safety and security is number one here, vehicle crash detection and vehicle theft prevention. So all this is available with Trace5. Fleet safety and security is, of course, real time. You can see where your vehicle is. You can hide the device somewhere. No one even knows that something is installed in this vehicle that you're renting. Vehicle crash detection or impact detection on Trace5 version. So you can also detect when there are some impacts or possible crash of the vehicle. You can detect that. The device detects that and can send you notifications to the platform or to your phone and so on. You can already see on your phone, like this and this vehicle from my fleet possibly had a crash. And you can go to the fleet management platform and check more details, what happened, or maybe call the driver or so on. And vehicle theft prevention. So again, it's as devices are small, especially the IP30 version is very small, you can install it and no one will even know that some devices is installed there. You can use also vehicle ignition blocking feature. Maybe you can give just a RFID card for the renter and he can start the vehicle by only using this RFID card, so no one else can physically start the vehicle. Make sure that it's not being stolen. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, David. So we covered the Trace5 family. We covered what industries you can use with devices. So now we want to go to the more generic topic, and it is sustainability. Like I believe all of us are affected by this climate change. Some weeks are very dry. For example, in Lithuania, we had really dry seasons. Now we have rainy day and the storm is coming at the night. So what role does the telematic industry play there? And it's quite sure that fleet management in general, it can have an impact for sustainability, for better environmental effects. And I believe I see that we have a lot of attendees from different countries, and I believe in each country there exists the regulation about CO2 emission. And in Europe, we have quite strict regulations. And the main goal of this regulation that until 2025, we have to lower CO2 emission by 15%, comparing to 2020, and until 2030, we have to lower even more. So how fleet management can be part of achieving these sustainability goals? David, please share your insights.
Yeah, thank you, Ingrid. A very important topic, I think, for not only Europe, for all the world. Sustainability. Everyone is talking about some climate changes and so on. So it's important for each one of us. What we are doing, actually, we're already for quite some times, for years, maybe for 7 years, we already focusing for the sustainability and how to lower the CO2 emission. So this is how our eco-driving solution actually was born. So what you can do with Trace5 is monitor this driver behavior and to have some eliminations of harsh driving habits. So as driver is not accelerating that much, not driving so fast, just not doing so much harsh events, automatically, the vehicle itself is not producing so much CO2 because, if you're gonna hit the floor, of course, a lot of CO2 is emitted, but if you drive nicely, safely, and behaving yourself as a driver, you're just lowering the CO2 emission overall and just helping ourselves, our planet, for this. Also, maybe to share some insights from our clients. So some clients are using our EcoDrive solution for drivers' motivation systems. So say at the end of the month, every end of the month, they're just checking their fleet management reports for EcoDrive, and they can see even listed the drivers from number one to who did the least harsh events and who wasted the least amount of fuel, up to the worst ones. And then they, for example, paying bonuses for the best ones, or maybe having some bad talks with those bad drivers that are not behaving good. So you can actually teach your drivers and just save money in this way. You're saving your driver, you're saving your cargo, and of course you're saving whole planet just by lowering the CO2 emission.
Thank you, David. And now I would like to ask Evelyn to share her insights about how GPS trackers and fleet management in general can improve sustainability.
I think, as I quickly mentioned before, you can also use it to optimize the size of your fleet. And because I don't know if you have in other countries these problems, but in Switzerland, sometimes the company is divided in different sections, and all the sections are keeping their vehicles for themselves because they don't want to give it away, although they are not using it. And with the telematic system, the headquarters can see which vehicle has been in use and which has not been in use, so they can transfer the vehicle to another site without buying a new one, which also helps prevent that only is produced what is really necessary. Yeah. Okay. As an addition to the points already mentioned.
Okay, thank you, Evelyn. That's very good thought and insight from your side. And actually, some time ago, we were interested in how we can improve this sustainability, and we calculated that with a simple logistic company with only 100 trucks can save about 650 tons of CO2 in just 1 year when using this EcoDrive solution. So you can imagine that the same amount of CO2 we can emit if one day we will decide to circle the Earth for 87 times. So it's quite a huge impact. So this solution we are promoting a lot. And when you are talking with your clients, you can also say that, look, if you are using eco-driving solution, you can be a part of sustainable world. So now we come to the end of the session of presentation, and I see that we have some questions in the chat. So I will go on the mark questions. I saw that some of questions are already answered, but we will go from the market ones. So I see the first question from the attendee. I'm really afraid to pronounce the name, so I will say from attendee. What about the campus data in Trace5 devices? Davidas, can you answer this one?
Yeah, sure. So about the CAN bus data, so as I mentioned, this is our basic segment device. So with the Trace5, CAN bus data reading is not available, at least for now. You have the Bluetooth. We know some third-party, companies that are making some Bluetooth accessories in order for you to read the CAN bus with additional accessory. But for now, Trace is not supporting CAN bus data reading. For that feature, we have some advanced devices like HCV Lite, Pro Lite, and others.
Yes, thank you. And how many fuel level sensors can you connect to Trace5 devices if you're talking about Bluetooth sensors and even analog sensors? So how many of that we can connect?
Yeah, actually both analog and Bluetooth, you can connect two of them. So two separate ones, you can connect and use them. If you want to connect more, you need again to use more advanced device. Let's say with our HCV series, with advanced devices, you connect up to 10 of them. So with the Trace5, it's only two, but it's enough for the client. Usually, most of the cases, only one is used. In some advanced cases, if the fuel tanks are very big and it's two of them, then they're installing usually two full level sensors. So two are supported by Trace5.
Thank you. And we have one question in German language, I guess. So I will try to use Google Translate. And as I understood, it's a question what we are doing about carbon footprint when we are making reporting. Davidas, do you know something about, can you comment, or is more, I assume it's more related about reporting what you can see from software side, from the devices, how it shows and what features it can show to you. Maybe you have something to add.
Yeah, so regarding carbon footprint, so I'm not sure about what exactly, how deeply Mr. John wanted to ask. If you're asking about more advanced ones, when from vehicle CAN bus, it's taken the CO2 and carbon emissions and stuff. So this is not supported by Trace because, as I mentioned, Trace5 is not reading CAN bus data. But still, with using some eco-drive solution, and usually on the fleet management software, they're having implemented some calculations and numbers for you to see the carbon footprint and CO2 emission and so on. But this is more on the fleet management platform side, not on device physically. Yeah, it reads a lot of data just by accelerometer and so on. It calculates, but later just pure mathematics, So it depends. If we talk about advanced CAN bus stuff, no, it's not supported. But for basic stuff, average amounts of CO2 or carbon emissions, those you can do it with Trace5 and fleet management platforms.
Yeah, but it's important to highlight that these reports, as I mentioned, David, as we can provide the numbers, but all the math and reports will be available in the software. So it depends what you have in your fleet management software. I see one more question from Benjamin that if Trace5 devices has RS, so I can answer this one. Trace5 devices do not have RS-232 or RS-485. These connections are in our more advanced devices like HCV, HCV5, Lite, and all our devices, advanced one, not in Trace5 family. And we have quite a long question. I would like to set a movement source as the ignition, like to use DIN1, and have a mode set to static and still if no movement is detected by accelerometer. How the attendee can achieve this, and is it possible with Trace5, like to communicate each minute to save the data, but no positioning are changing? Davidas, can you help on this one?
Yeah, sure. So if I understood correctly, so the client, he wants to use basically a double source for ignition detection. So yes, you should go to, if I remember correctly, just go to custom ignition settings, and there you can select two tick marks, for ignition configuration. Just select DIN1 and together with movement. And this way, the vehicle ignition will be on and detected only when digital input is on. So when physical power is in digital input one, and together only when the device is moving, when movement is detected. Anyway, for such more of a technical configuration question, so we have our support, which works 24/5. So you can always write to support at ruptella.com, and then they will help you out with all the configuration, any things that you are facing or don't know how to configure, how to install maybe. So the support is there, and they're always waiting for your questions.
Yeah, for sure. You can use our support 24 hours, 5 days per week. So we have another question. Are you planning to expand the portfolio of the devices? So the short question would be yes. We are always working on new devices. And now actually we are working on 6th generation devices. So we're gonna expand our portfolio with basic devices, with advanced devices, with even to implement the new devices like asset trackers, but this is in the future, which is waiting for us. So we are expanding all the time our portfolio based on what our clients needs. And the next question would be, driving times and rest periods in Europe is not the same as for Africa. We would like to make the set response and breakpoints for drivers. Can this be added to the routing and tasking model? This model, as I know, it's more from software side, but maybe David, as you can share your also expertise in this for this question.
Yeah, so what Mr. Farrell has in mind, yeah, it's actually software feature, this routing and tasking module. So it's a fully software feature. So yes, it can be added. It's possible to add, of course. So you just need to contact your sales manager and just arrange this development. So I cannot see any issue of adding it, but this is purely a software feature here. And also, I can see already the question from Mr. Farrell, one more, about the Trace5, and can it be used on a forklift to record working hours and impact events? So the answer is yes. You can record working hours just by digital inputs. So you can record it when ignition is on, for example, detecting various methods by physical connection to digital inputs, movement, speed, and so on. So you will be able to record the working hours and impact events. Yes, Trace5 is fully supporting impact detection, so you can detect those.
Thank you. And one more question, David, as for you. In the Trace5 family, is there any improvements in the accelerometer, I guess, or accessories? It can be both like this, but let's focus on accelerometer.
Yeah, I'm also not sure, but I guess it means accelerometer. So as far as I know, it was changed maybe a few years ago, but recently there were no improvements in some accelerometer data, because usually clients are happy with our accelerometer data and it's enough for them. So I don't know, I guess it's some specific case. So we can discuss that, or also can write it to the support and ask maybe if you're not happy about something, you can always ask. But so far our clients were happy about accelerometer. It was quite accurate.
Yeah, so thank you. And one more question. With Trace5 battery, it's using, as understood, under the metal of the car. Will it interfere with GPS precision? Can you elaborate a little bit on this precision of GPS when you're installing?
Yes, of course, it will interface in some way. about the GPS precision, because still the hood is metal on top of the device. But that's why, as I mentioned before, we're using the uBlocks GNSS module, which is it's just the top flagman of the GNSS modules. And we tested ourselves. A lot of our clients already installed under the hood. No issues at all with GPS positioning and tracking. So no issues at all. It works fully perfectly with under the hood.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. And I see the final question in the chat, and the time is running out. So since the final question is related to the next slide, I want to mention that for these attendees of this webinar, we have a special token for you, like appreciation that you invest your time in this webinar, and we have exclusive offer for you. So please contact by these emails, and you will get the special offer. As I can see that there is a company based in Morocco, and we would like to get in touch with us as well. So please contact the email which you see in the middle, and this person, he will introduce you to our company, and will introduce you with our partners in that region, if we have it, to whom you can contact. So please write to this email, and we will be very glad to help you. And I see that we have even more questions. David, I think we will need your help on this one. So these devices batteries get bloated after some years. What are you doing to mitigate the situation and to avoid this risk that the battery lifetime is not so long and sometimes?
Yeah, thank you, Stefan. Actually, good question here, because this is how all the lithium polymer batteries are working. Any battery that you will install after a few years, well, maybe 2 years, some 4 years, very good battery, 6 years. After some times, yeah, they're getting, swollen, bloated, and so on. We know this, and we are actually now, while working on our 6th generation devices, we are checking on that. We're selecting some different chemicals in the battery for them not to get swollen. So we know this is kind of an issue, but this is how the lithium batteries are working. So we are checking on this, and in new generation devices, there will be no so swollen batteries and so on, because we're gonna select some different batteries that have this capability of not to be swollen. I just don't want to give all the cards on the table today, let's say.
Okay, thank you, David, as far as valuable information. And actually, I want to say 2 things. First of all, I want to ask you to follow us on social media, so you will not miss any news from our side. And Stefan wants to ask a question about configurations. So since we have a few minutes left, yes, Stephen, you can shoot your question about configuration. Well, I'll be saying to you that, yeah, please follow us on social media. We are announcing a lot of news. We are announcing when we are participating in some exhibitions, so you can meet live in this exhibition our sales teams or our sales engineers. If you have any, okay, Stephen, I believe Stephen now is writing quite a long question for us. So let's wait a little bit for Stephen's question. If you have more questions, also you can always ask your salesperson, which is dedicated to you, or you can write to these emails which you see in the screen, or you just simply can write to support@ruptella.com, and these people will transfer your email to the person who can answer to you. So Stephen, yes, you can. Okay, how many RFID cards can any of your devices take? Davidas, please share your expertise about RFID cards.
Yeah, so it depends on the device, but for now it's 500. It depends, but Trace5 can handle up to 500 because it's the limit of the ID list. The more advanced ones, they can handle even more. Also, all the questions like that, you can, as Ingrida mentioned, always contact technical support. They're always there, happy to help you.
So since we reserved 1 hour, but I want to keep, we're gonna be a record of webinar, so you can see it later on. And I want to keep 5 minutes to have a coffee break before moving to another meeting or start to work, because it's still working day. But I hope we will all feel how summer is warm to us. And my huge thanks is to Evelyn that today she joined us and she shared with a few tips and insights from their side. It's really nice to work with you. It was really nice to spend this 1 hour with you. And thank you, David, as you were the main person in this webinar. And I believe that see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.